Good morning. My name is John, the convener here, and I get the pleasure of introducing our special guest speaker today, Mr. Dayton Edmonds. Dayton is coming to us through a connection we have in the church, Robin Barr and the Barr family, and we're so grateful to be connected to Dayton today. A few things about our speaker today. Dayton is steeped in traditions of countless generations of the Caddo people, as well as 2 generations of traditions of the people called United Methodist. Dayton's stories, work, and lifestyle serve as a medium for fusing this country's important cultures and views. About his specialty, storytelling, Dayton says, "My purpose is to tell the story, to pass it on so others may hear, see, feel, and enjoy. As a storyteller, I strive to give a voice to the voiceless. As an artist, I seek to give a perspective from a different part of life's circle. The stories I tell and the artwork I create are to gently challenge people to grow." We do have a couple of cushions on the floor for little ones, just a handful of them, but you're welcome to come forward if you want to sit in the front and you're small. A couple left. And I'm really excited particularly for Dayton to be here today to kind of help fuse the transition between 2 series that we're working on here at Valley and Mountain. We've been doing a series called Listening to the Land, which is kind of eco-theology and how environment and spirituality and justice come together and circle around each other. So this is the final week of that 6-week series we've had, connecting ecology and theology. And it's also the start of the next series, which is storytelling. So it's perfect. Storytelling is today. Next Sunday it's going to be story making, and on the 30th of September we'll have story keeping. So we're kind of diving into how stories are so integral to our identity, the work we do in the world, our spirituality, every aspect of life. So it's a perfect thing that's happening today, and I'm so grateful for Dayton for being here. Let's give Dayton a warm welcome.
Thank you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Amen. It certainly is my pleasure to be here this day, and I am thankful for the opportunity to share through story, and thankful that all of you are here to help us all put this together. And so I thank Robin for the invitation, and was real thrilled and surprised to see another friend of mine, Casey. We have worked together over the Met How and put together a play there that is still kind of bubbling things around, and that's good. I was raised by Grandma and Grandpa, as was, and I would like to make it again, the custom of my people. The grandparents would raise the grandchildren. At another time, I can tell you more about one of the things that happened with those dynamics of grandparents and grandchildren together. But as I was growing, I was born way back in the mid-1900s. And we were still practicing a lot of our customs and things. And one of the things that we always did is the first thing we would do is we would sing a song. And we would sing the song to sing our shadow home. And at another time I can tell you that story as well. But after we would sing our shadow home, then we would go down to the water. We would go down to the water individually, but corporately. Does that make sense? We were down as individuals whenever when morning happened, but then there would be already people down there, and there would be people coming in. But it was a corporate thing, but it was also an individual thing. And that's what I find also with Christianity. An individual thing, but a corporate thing as we work together and as we celebrate together. Grandpa, he would call me. Dianho, he would say, yeah, come. I would go following him as he would go walking off, but he was walking down to the water. We would get to the water, we would disrobe, walk into the water, up to our waist. Well, Grandpa's waist, it was to me here. I had to stand on my tiptoes sometimes. But we would go to the water, and we would splash the water on ourselves. And we would do it 4 times. And then we would begin our morning centering. When we went down to the water, we walked in. Grandpa said, "What do you see?" I see the trees, I see the clouds, I see the sun, I see the water, I see the bushes, I see, oh, Grandpa, I see you, I see. And then he said, "That's good. Now, what do you hear?" I hear the birds singing. I hear the trees rustling with the wind. I hear the frogs singing. I hear dogs barking. I hear, yes, crickets, the humming of insects' wings. Grandpa said, "Good. What do you feel?" I feel the water as it surrounds me. I feel the wind as it blows over me. I feel the warmth of the sun as it shines down on me. I feel the earth as the earth is holding me. I feel a good feeling. Grandpa said, "Oh, that's good." What you see, what you feel, what you hear, everything you need to remember are our relatives. Everything. We are all kinfolk. Being kinfolk and being relatives, then it becomes our responsibility to take care of each other. So we take care of the earth, and the earth takes care of us. Grandpa said, everything that you see is birthed from the earth. Everything is birthed from the earth, even ourselves birthed from the earth. And so this makes us family. So much so that we call the earth Mother. So the earth gives that we might live. Once, there was a tree. And this tree loved a little boy very much. And each day the boy would come and climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat her apples. And the tree was happy. Each day the boy would come and they would play hide and go seek, and when he was tired, he would rest in her shade. The boy loved the tree very much. And indeed, the tree was happy. Time passed. And as time passed, the tree was often alone. And then one day, the tree was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy. But he wasn't there. All day long, she waited, and he never showed up. The next day, it was the same, and the next, and the next, and the next, until 1 week had gone by, then 2 weeks, and 1 month, and 2 months, and 1 year, and 2 years, and then many years passed. And then one day, the tree looking down the road, saw the boy, and the boy was walking towards her, and the tree was so happy that she shook all over. And when the boy got to the tree said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat my apples." And the boy said, "I don't have time to do that now. I got myself a car, I got myself a girl. What I need is some money. Can you give me some money?" And the tree said, "I have no money. Oh, but I tell you what, you can gather my apples, and you can take them into town, and you can sell them." And so the boy did. And the tree was happy. The next day, the tree was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy, but he wasn't there. All day long she waited, and he never showed up. The next day it was the same, and the next and the next and the next, until 1 week had gone by, then 2 weeks, and 1 month, and 2 months, and 1 year, and 2 years, and then many years passed. And then one day the tree was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy. And she saw him. The boy was walking towards her, and the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. And when the boy got to the tree said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk, spring from my branches, and be happy." And the boy said, "I don't have time to do that now. I got myself a wife, I got myself some kids. What I need is a house. Can you give me a house?" And the tree said, "I have no house, and the forest is my home. Oh, but I tell you what, you can cut off my branches, and you can take them into town, and you can build yourself a house, a home." And so the boy did. And the tree was happy. The next day, the tree was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy, but he wasn't there. All day long she waited, and he never showed up. The next day it was the same, and the next and the next and the next, until 1 week had gone by, then 2 weeks and 1 month, 2 months, 1 year and 2 years, and then many years passed. And then the tree, one day, looking down the road, as was her custom, she looked and she saw the boy, and the boy was walking towards her, and the tree was so happy she didn't know what to do. And when the boy got to the tree said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and be happy." And the boy said, "I don't have time to do that now. I need a boat so that I might sail far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" And the tree said, "I have no boat." "Oh, but I tell you what, you can cut down my trunk and you can hollow it out. You can make yourself a boat and you can sail away." And so the boy did. And the tree was happy, but not really. The tree, which now was just a stump, the next day was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy, but he wasn't there. All day long she waited. He never showed up. The next day it was the same, and the next and the next and the next, until 1 week had gone by, then 2 weeks and 1 month and 2 months and 1 year and 2 years, and then many years passed. And then the tree, which was just a stump, was looking down the road to see if she could see the boy. And she saw him. It was the boy, and the boy was walking towards her, and the tree was so happy she didn't know what to do. And as the boy got to the tree thought, "Well, what good am I? I'm just a stump." When the boy got to the tree said, "I don't have a trunk for you to climb." And the boy said, "I'm too old to climb anyway. I don't have any branches for you to swing on." The boy said, "Oh, I'm too tired to swing anyway." The tree said, "I don't have any apples for you to eat." And the boy said, "My teeth are all gone anyway. I'm just too old and tired. All I need is a place to sit and rest." Well, thought the tree, straightening herself up as best she could, she thought, "A stump is good for something. A stump is good to sit on. Come, boy, sit and rest." And the boy did, and the tree was happy. Thank you. I used to know an old man who could walk by any cornfield and hear the corn singing. Teach me, I asked after we passed by. I never spoke while he was listening. Tell me, how did you learn to hear the corn? He said, it takes time. It takes practice. And you can't be in a hurry. I said, I have the time. He was so good at listening that once he heard wildflower seeds burst open and begin to grow underground. I said, I bet you were surprised when you heard those seeds. He said, no, I wasn't surprised at all. And it seemed like the most natural thing in the world. He smiled, remembering. Once he heard a rock murmur good things to a lizard. The old man said, people don't often hear those things and sometimes never hear those things. And I said, I wonder why. He said, because people don't take time for something that important. I said, I have the time, but you'll have to teach me. He said, oh, I would if I could. But you have to listen to the trees. You have to listen to the ants. You have to listen to the grass. They do the teaching around here. He said, it was worth the time. And he said, trees are honest. They don't care much for fancy folks. And he said he didn't know of anything that he ever did that was as important as sitting in that tree. He said you have to respect what you're with, that tree, that bug, this blade of grass. He said, it takes time. I said, I will take the time. He said, I said, just give me a hint. Give me what all do I need to do and how do I need to do it? He said, do this. Go and get to know one thing as well as you can. And don't start with something big. Don't start with a mountain or don't start with the whole Pacific Ocean. Start with a blade of grass. Start with one handful of dirt. Start with one green lizard. Start with one sandy wash. He said, it was worth the time. I still went for walks in my hills. And one day, as I was walking where I usually walked, I kept thinking, here I am. Here I am. And whichever direction I turned, it was always the right one. All of a sudden, I realized I wasn't the only one singing. The hills were singing with me. I stopped and I stood for more than an hour listening. I never listened so hard in my life. All I know is that I stood in the middle of that music, 9 o'clock in the morning, thinking, here I am, and thinking, listen, not being surprised at all. It seemed like the most natural thing in the world. The earth gives so that we might live. listen to the earth. Grandpa said, as you listen to the earth, you hear the earth through the children of the earth. Listen to the trees. Listen to the wind. Listen to the grasses. Listen to the insects. Listen, and you hear the voice of God. Listen to the earth. Grandpa said, you hear what you listen for. This Native American person walking in the streets of Seattle, walking with his Caucasian friend. The two were walking down the street and they were visiting. The traffic was going by. There was construction happening over in the next block, and there was all kinds of noise that was going on, and they had to yell at each other so that they could hear what each other was saying. And the native person stopped and said, "Do you hear that?" "Well, do I hear what?" "A cricket." "A cricket? Come on, what are you talking about?" Said, "Yeah, look." And got down on his knees and started looking through the grass in the cracks in the sidewalk. And a cricket jumped out. The Caucasian guy said, "Wow, you Indians, you can certainly hear good. You got such good hearing. That was excellent." The native guy said, "Well, you know, you do hear what you listen for." And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, watch this." He reached in his pocket and pulled out a 50-cent piece. Do they still make 50-cent pieces? Pulled out a quarter. You do? A lot of 50-cent pieces? You got a silver dollar or a paper dollar? You got $50 in your piggy bank? And for a 4-year-old, you have more money than... Oh. You have 2 piggy banks? Ah.
One is half full with coins and one is full with coins and then the other is half full of dollar bills.
2 piggy banks. One is full of coins and the others have bills. Yeah, I only had 1 piggy bank and it only had pennies and dimes. Some nickels. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a quarter. Flicked it into the air. The coin flipped and landed on the ground and bounced and rolled, and 6 people turned around to hear. Where'd it go? You hear what you listen for. So let's be open as we go from this place. Let us be open to hear what the earth is saying, groaning and crying in some places. We can alleviate that. As we work together and as we do things together, and we are remembering or we are aware of where we are, what we are, whose we are, we begin to work together then to heal the earth. As we heal the earth, we heal ourselves. It has been a long journey listening to the earth. And what I discover is it's still singing. Even with all that we humans have done, the earth is still singing. So we too need to pick up the song of the earth and carry it with us so we can share this with the rest of our human families. As we share and as we grow and as we listen, we will see that indeed we are better people for it. Not only us, but even the earth itself, as we begin to look at all of the life and remember that everything was birthed from this earth. We are all kinfolks. And as kinfolks, we take care of one another. I appreciate the opportunity to share. I appreciate you listening to my stories, and I hope that they have been a blessing. Thank you. hear these good words. As God's family, oh, is this on? Oh, okay. As God's family, holy and beloved, above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you are called into one body, one family. Amen.